welcome everyone back to the Team Let's Eat weekly live analysis or on YouTube analysis. We got the first week of June coming up this week, which also includes my birthday on Thursday, which is cool. So we got a lot of pairs that we're going to be looking at. A couple pound pairs, gold, Bitcoin, the whole ordeal. I just wanted to real quickly show you guys the broker that we all use here at Team Let's Eat is Osprey FX. And as you can see, their support actually, they're not kidding when they say 24/7 because you can email them in the middle of the night on a weekend and they'll respond to you in 30 minutes. Super tight spreads, larger leverage if you like that, but you can also use small leverage. And you got, all the things that we go over here. They have metals, um, stocks, gas, indices, everything that you can think of. Crypto, you can trade it, and zero fees. And one of the new things they got going on is actually they now have funded accounts. So whether you want to use them as your personal broker or you just want to use them as a prop firm or both, you now have that option with a 70/30 split. Obviously 70% goes to the trader, and you can check out here all the different packages they offer, bonuses you get for completing them. Whoops, don't know how I did that. But super good program, super good broker. I would highly recommend checking them out if you're looking for a new broker, if you're looking for a new prop firm, ospreyfx.com. And with that being said, let's take a look at the markets. And we're going to start with pound CAD and then work our way down. And I'll just briefly touch EuroCAD because it's the same as the pound CAD. So we're going to zoom out to the daily time frame. And this pair I'm waiting a little bit on. I'm not super, that's why I have it up in just my watch list. I'm not super keen on, spending a lot of energy watching this pair because it could go either way right now. But I do have some, guidelines set up in case certain things happen. Then obviously I want to take part of that opportunity. So the main thing that I've been wanting to see the pound CAD do is come up to this area right here, this retesting of this daily level, which is also a weekly level. I've really wanted to see that tested, and as you can see, we have had some sort of clear break of this structure right here, and that that led me to believe that analysis was really going to happen. And then we had some days where it looked like it was going to push right here, and it didn't. It actually pretty much from right here, the 23rd to the 27th, it didn't go anywhere. As you can see, the market opened this week right here, and it closed this week just a little bit above it. However, I think that pressure is still upwards, so that is the bias I'm keeping when I'm looking at this chart because, like I said, I do think we are going to hit this 1.2 or 1.627 area. And in my opinion, if we're going to do that, because of this sell pressure that has already been showing, we are likely to push down first a little bit before we see that price start to push back up again. And more specifically, I want to see price push down to this low because as you can see, this is the similar style that we use on pretty much any any market. But you see how we have a huge push up and then it pulls back towards the low of that because there's lots of orders in that market around this area, and that's what price is doing is it's coming back and fulfilling those orders, and then it continues and marches on. We saw that here. We can see that here how price pulled back to where it pushed off from pretty close to the absolute bottom right there, and then it continued up. So I'm honestly really looking for the same thing to happen right in this area. I want to see it push into this low of this 4-hour candle, which is the low of a daily wick, and from there, as long as we can respect it and not break through it, kind of like right here how we pushed down. And see, we went sideways for a little bit, but ultimately it could never break that low. That's what I'm going to be looking for down here, and then we will be able to take a buy entry up to 1.628, which is almost 300 pips. If we look on the 2 hour, I'm just going to increase that zone a little bit more. And yeah, this is pretty much the exact area that I want to see price fall into and respect. And as long as we get that, then yeah, we will definitely be buying from that area. The main thing I really want to see here is this low be broken, because in my opinion, if anyone bought within this range, the stop loss is under this low, and I want to see that low taken out and pulled back in price, pulled back into all of these orders, and then we'll take the entry. The reason I'm not super keen on it is because we are hitting this major daily resistance right here, and the daily close with some pretty large wicks to the upside. And this structure right here, if I draw this on, if price breaks below here, and pretty much if price breaks below 1.605, yeah, 1.605, 1.606, I'm not going to be looking to buy it. But if we can pull down here and we can start going sideways, then I'm definitely going to be looking to take the long entry. And then just real quick for EuroCAD, it's a little bit different, but the same concept. So let me go back to the daily. I want to see this area hit on the daily level for price to buy. So that would look, I mean, if we look at this structure, we'd have this high, the same high, right? So this is really what I would be looking for, with the target of these highs up here, which is equivalent to 400 pips, right? In my opinion, what we're seeing here is kind of like a Wyckoff, but on the daily time frame. We see a little bit of buy pressure, the sells come in. A little bit more buy pressure, sells come back. A little bit more buy pressure, sells come back, but they don't break that low. And now we have a lot of buy pressure, and the sells come back a little bit because now it's changing to buys, and now we're going to buy it, and then we're going to swing it all the way up to the top up here. That's pretty much what I'm looking for, on the same thing here. A little bit different, but as you can see, yeah, the structure broke. So we should see possibly, if these present in the right way and they respect the levels that we're looking at, we could have some really, really nice swings on the CAD pairs. There we go. Because that's, yeah, 280 for one and then 400 for the other. So roughly 700 pips with the CAD pairs. This coming, we'll say, probably into next week's trading week. And that's it for the pad pairs. So why am I keep messing that up? CAD pairs. There we go. Okay, let's move on. This is gold, and just to recap, I'm going to zoom all the way in. We have a sell up here at 1866 that we're still holding. We had a very nice retest of this level. We thought it was going to be selling the past week, especially right in this area. Earlier on the week, it really looked like a sell and took some losses here. However, did not give up, took another sell right here, closed some of it as it came down to this area, And what I'm looking for is it to simply continue that push down to these lows and possibly even these lows right down here. So we'll go back out to the daily time frame. We'll go to the 3-day time frame. I'm really looking for a smaller wick to the upside on this new 3-day candle that starts in 1 hour. I want to see a small wick and pretty much a clean push to the downside, similar to right here how we have a nice small wick on the market open of that 3-day candle, and it pretty much pushed straight down ever since. And then the next candle pushed down even more, giving that full extent down. That's kind of what I would like to see happen here. So I would really love to see price push down and take this low out at 1786, and from there we're going to be buying the long term into 1900s 2000s, right? We'll see how long we can swing that, um, but for now, yeah, I do want to see that candle just completely drop. Even like this candle, let's go right here. See, 1 2 3. So push up, right? This goes a little bit higher than expected. It pushes down and then it pushes all the way back up a little bit. And then that next 3-day candle, super small wick, and then it completely drained. Let's see how many pips. That's 200 pips, right? I'm expecting something like that to happen here, except probably a little bit bigger, probably more like this. This candle dropped 500 pips, right? I really would like to see for sure the 1818 area, possibly 1807 hit. And this is where we'll close most of the trade, because once price dumps down in here, we're probably going to get another, possibly even a buy entry for it to pull back, and then another sell for it to come down. So we'll see what happens when price gets down here, but we'll most likely be closing out a vast majority, if not all, of the trades from up here, just because that's 500-600 pips. So there's no need to really hold that much longer, as we are expecting to buy this at some point. Um, so that's what's been going on. Now let's look at what we're aiming for this week. So we're going to go back to the daily time frame, and like I was saying, I'm expecting a smaller wick on this daily candle here, because most of the pressure on that daily candle I'm expecting to move downwards. As you can see, a lot of the times when price does push downwards, the wick on the top of the candle is not that big, even if it's been, or especially when it's been stalling for a few days. Like right here, there's almost no wick on this candle, yet it drops 400 pips. Right here, we have a little wick. You guys can see, you know, all these all these examples. That's pretty much what I'm expecting here. I'm expecting the next candle to be bearish. I'm open to the idea of it, coming up a little bit. We do have just that one sell entry up here with the stop loss up here. So even if it does kind of play around and accumulate even more, that would be fine. But I just don't think that's going to happen. What I'm expecting is simply just price to pull back into this upper 1850 area. So like exactly where I highlighted. You can see these candy body that this zone is based off of. We have the high of that day up here and the low of it, which is right here. So if we're looking at, I'm trying to find the halfway mark. So if we're looking at where price is pulling back to, it's pulling back. Let's go to the daily time frame. If we're expecting price to pull back here, that would leave a pretty decent size wick. I mean, that's 30 pips, pretty small, right? Measuring that one, that's 20 pips. That's 30 pips. That's 18 pips. 20 pips, 30 pips, 40 pips, right? So that's right in the ballpark of what I'm looking for the next candle to just dump would be, a wick right up into this area, and specifically not go higher than this daily candle's high, right? So that's very specific. I don't think it's going to break this high. The wick for this next daily candle is going to go somewhere between this candle's open and the high, but I believe it's going to be on the lower end of that. And then we found on the 4 hour and also the 30-minute. If you take a look at this wick right here, this tells me there's lots of orders right in this area, so it would make sense for price to just slightly pull back to right in this area, and then that's where it would make its move down from. So I'm going to move that upwards a little bit and over. We're going to go like that. We're going to shorten that, and I will still keep the high of the day marked. So I'm essentially just looking to place a secondary sell at 118.58, and once we tap this area, then we have a good chance that we see price finally start to move down. And this position would look something like this. Let's see, 1858. Probably do a little bit larger stop loss. Right, so it looks like we have a solid 6-to-1 risk to reward if we close out the entire trade right up here, which is highly likely. So from there, we can determine if we're going to take a small term buy in order to sell it again, or if we're just going to look for a continuation pattern and sell it again. Right? We'll take a look at that when the time comes. But for now, yeah, we're just looking to take that sell entry at 1858. All right, delete that. All right, so going over the CAD pairs that we're looking to possibly buy. We're going over gold that we're in a sell already, and we're looking to add a secondary sell to that fairly soon after the market opens today. So now let's go ahead and look at the pound yen, because I believe we're going to have a huge trade, huge swing trade coming in, and we've already been buying that. So a couple weeks ago, we bought right down here, and price exploded up 400 pips, and then we pulled back, and then we bought again down here, and we ended up closing that in this kind of messy jungle. Then price drained, and we bought again right here, pulled up, bought again right here, but when price pulled into this area and started going sideways, this position was closed. So right now the only position open on pound yen is the buy from 158.6, and that going forward, I believe we're going to see a very small, similar to gold, a very small wick to the downside, and the rest of the candle is going to be explosive. So if we take a look right here, you can see price 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, wicks, wicks, wicks. Right. This last one, I mean, look at the size of these wicks. They are not big. 30 pips, right? Same with this day. 30 pips. If you take a look, here's the low of that wick, and then here's the open of that wick. This candle went right in between there. Not in the middle, but I'm just saying it went in between the low and the open of this candle and didn't do anything. And then the next day, it tested that low again and then it exploded. So the point of me showing you that is, if you look at the candles going on here, they don't need to be huge liquidation candles in order to explode even after it's already pushed up, because right here some people might be thinking, okay, it's going to sell off, but if you know the pressure is up, then you would just be looking to buy, and it went in a little, a little sideways. This is that right here, went a little sideways. You can see how many times it tested the low, and then it just sprung up. Let's see, how many pips is that? That's 600 pips, right? So that is pretty much what I'm expecting to happen right here. That's why I have this low, and then I'm just gonna mark that low right there. So I'm expecting price to stay right above 160. If it pops below 160, then we're definitely going to be looking to place an entry. Um, but I don't think it's going to have to go that much lower. I really think it's just going to have to go right in between these. So if we go to the daily, um, that's why I have this candle, or this line a little bit higher. So I have the low marked of this daily, or sorry, I have the open and the low marked on this daily candle. I'm expecting this candle's wick to come somewhere in between here, right? So if we go to the 10-minute, and I want to mark this up, is that I want to mark it right on the open. Okay, right there is the open, and right here is the low. So if I'm thinking it's going to go between here, where does it make sense? And in my opinion, there's two areas that look good. The first is the gap between this wick and that candle low. So that's an imbalance that hasn't been fulfilled, and there's a solid chance price is going to pull back into that area. And the other area is just slightly above it. But in my opinion, if price is going to pull down here, it's just going to, that's like 10 pips. So it's probably going to wick into this area. So I would love to see price pull, if I'm being honest, just under this wick, under this candle open, like I was saying. But if we're talking exact sniper entry, um, pretty much right in this area is where I want to see price wick into, and from there, that is where I'll be personally buying. I'm going to set a buy limit right in here, probably a little bit up. I don't mind going into 5 or 10 pips drawdown. So I'll probably set a buy limit at like 160.1. Um, but yeah, like I said, similar to gold, I don't think it's going to spend that much time chilling. I think it's pretty much just going to grab what it needs to do, and then it's going to explode. And the targets are a weekly swing target, like swinging for weeks. So this position, we might be holding this thing until like the end of June. It all really depends what happens. I don't know why that one's marked there, and I'm going to delete that. So it's really, if this is going to continue and break this high, then it's as simple as that. It's going to continue and break the high. So if we know it's going to go above that high, where's the next stop? And that is the weekly high right here, and then the weekly high up here. So 170 and 175 are the two major swing targets for this trade. Now, obviously, that is like 1500 pips. There's probably going to be multiple different opportunities along the way. We might be closing some trades, we might be opening new ones, we might be selling a trade just to buy it again, right? There's probably going to be multiple entries, but Dang, Sean just said there's an 80 pip spread on GA. That is big and probably stopped me out of my position. But um, yeah, that's it for the pound yen. I believe we're going to get a very small wick followed by an explosion of price upwards. And it's always interesting when the market opens when it does. I'm looking at the picture Sean sent right now of the spread. Goodness gracious. Why does it have to spread so big? Okay, we have two more pairs to look at. So let's just get right into it. Look at that. That is huge. That's all spread. I wonder if it stopped me out of my position. I'm not gonna look until 1 hour from now. It might have stopped me out. If the spread was 80 pips, it definitely took me out. Interesting. All right. So pound Aussie has already done what I think it's gonna do. I'm expecting a very small wick on this next daily candle, followed by a huge bullish pressure, and we already made that wick from the spread. So I'm interested to see if price can maintain right above or right on this line until you know the next few hours. And as long as it cannot break this level, I believe this was that today's wicks low, and we're gonna see this thing explode. We have a buy in here on this market, pretty much right where the market's sitting right now. So going forward, literally just sitting on our hands and seeing if this is really the bottom right here, and we're going to explode into 1.81, almost 1.82, which is a daily high. You can see this high right here. We were straight up consolidation for like 3 trading weeks. Literally, how many bars is that? 20 days. Right, long time of sideways. So when this thing finally goes, whether it is down or up, I believe it's going to be up. It's going to absolutely explode. It's going to do it very fast. It's probably going to have a huge run, and it's probably going to like just it's not going to do this, but it might do something close to it. It's crazy because we actually sold up here. I specifically remember this. This was my entry right on this wick right here. But I didn't hold it all the way. Every time I look at this chart, it pains me knowing that my sell was literally right there. But it also heals me knowing that we have a buy right here and it's about to explode 500 pips. So let's just give pound Aussie some time. There's not much else I have to say about this. It's pretty much self-explanatory. Now we just wait for it to happen. I'm deleting this key level. I like that better. Right there. Alright, so hopefully we can see this stop right here. Even though there's crazy spread, I just want to see it go sideways for a little bit. And at that point, we might enter one more time. And then we're going to take advantage of that 500 pip move. And lastly, we have Bitcoin. So we got 2 buy entries up into this area. This is exactly what I pictured in my head. Literally closed my eyes when price was in here, and I saw a little bit sideways, beautiful structure, which is why we bought here. And then it just completely exploded. But it immediately wicked out of 29,400, which is where the sell limit was. So the sell limit is on, and currently just waiting for the next daily candle to open because it's not going to um, dump until the next daily candle happens. So what I'm expecting is something kind of like this. See how we pushed up. Second day has a wick, and then the third day small wick, and that's when it dumps and it takes out the low, right? That's what we have here. So one push, two push, we have the wick, so the market's going to close around where it is now, which is why even if it's a little higher, if it's a little lower, it doesn't matter. And then I'm expecting tomorrow's wick to be a smaller wick, and then we'll see a day or two of it straight pushing down. So going to the 10-minute time frame. Where is that wick going to be on tomorrow's candle? Where's the high of it going to be? Well, if we're not expecting it to be higher than this candle, we're just going to mark that. Okay, that's the roof. That's where it's not going to go higher than that. Okay, and then the open is right here. Okay, so we have the open, we have the high. If it's not going to go up there, but it's going to go part of the way, we look at, all right, the midsection. And what do we see in the midsection? We see this beautiful area right here where every time price pulls into, it pushes from. So as you can see, pull in here, a little bit higher, dump. So that is exactly where I want to place a second sell, actually have a second sell limit at 29,270. I'm expecting it to touch just into this area, just above 29,300, and from there we are going to see this thing take out this low. And I'm not going to get too far ahead, but once it takes out this low right here, we're going to be buying it back up to this line right here. So this is going to be a very good buy opportunity to be a part of. And real quick, once we hit this line, we are going to be selling it for at least like 1,000 pips. So I just want to, you know, kind of like this right here. Spiked down, sideways, made one low, spiked that low out, came back the next day. Didn't quite spike out that low, but got close. Then we pulled all the way up to the highs, and then it absolutely drained from 52,000 to 32,000. And I believe we're going to get something very, very, very similar going on here. So we have the highs, which is this area up here. As you can see, all these wicks, that's the high point. So price is definitely going to push up into here, and then we're probably going to see this bad boy drop to like 20,000, which I don't think most of the market is ready for that, because people were shooting bricks. We shorted it from 48 down here, and now people are like, oh my god, and they're calling this the bottom. But little do they know, oh, we're just getting started. We're just getting started. We are going to make very, very good acquaintances with these lower prices. And it's honestly, it's very possible we're going to see $12,000 Bitcoin. Which most people don't want to hear that. But we want to hear that, because that gives us an incredible price point to buy at, because we know after it hits 12,000, it is going to explode and go up from there, and it's going to be beautiful. All the crypto is going to be pushing up from the bottom. When Bitcoin hits 12,000, we are buying XRP, we're buying Wild token, we're buying Bitcoin, we're buying lots of different cryptos. So, if you're holding crypto, you haven't sold already, if you haven't got the memo, you should probably sell it. and short it, which is why we have been shorting it. And that's it. That's all I got, guys. That's all I got. So have a great week. Let's buy the pound Aussie. Let's buy the pound yen. Let's sell gold. Let's maybe buy a pound CAD. We're going to sell Bitcoin. Lots of things going on this week. Side note, in the event price wants to explode, it's still going to come down here. It's going to take this low out. We will just sell it again. It would probably come up right to 30,000. But like I just showed and walked everyone through, I really don't think that's going to happen. I think we're going to get the sell-off from right here, right where it is now. Because as you can see right here, it looked like it was going to sell off. This was the manipulation spike, which is what we bought because we knew it was going to happen. And yeah, now we're going to sell it